Yes, so I would love to share with your listeners and you, Tracy, all about quantum leaping. It basically is collapsing of timelines between where you are now and where you want to go or where you're seeing yourself. So, for example, it would be your future self, right? There isn't just one timeline that exists out there. There isn't just this linear timeline that we have been told or taught in schools that there is. That's just a construct. So really at the end of the day, time is just something that we've created. It's a thing that gets put on a round clock or on your watch or on the corner of your laptop or on your phone, and we sort of follow this idea that there is a past, a present, and a future, and that we're existing just on this one like long stretch of a timeline, however you might visualize or imagine that to be. But what we're doing with a quantum leap is basically taking you from where you are in the present moment and bringing that aspect of your future self from whichever timeline it's on into the present moment. So you're bringing that in faster, in a more quicker way. In essence, it also falls hand in hand with that idea of manifestation, that we're setting goals, we're setting intentions, we're wanting to call in those aspects in to bring it into now. And that's what the quantum leap is.
I had quite a, I want to say, traumatic year last year, and I went to see a healer, and it was the most incredible experience. Like, she had come recommended. Anyway, I lay on her bed, and she doesn't like touch you, just places her hands and sort of, like, again, just runs them above. Sounds really dodgy, but anyway, it was great. And obviously shifts your energy. And afterwards she said the same, now I can't remember the exact percentage, but she said from that trauma, your soul somewhat steps out of your body, and it's very similar to what you've explained. When you go through that trauma, your soul steps out, but then you need to call it back in because you almost can't quite process what's happening, and your human mind's trying to, but your soul's kind of exiting. It sounds a bit out there. Now I know how you felt, but yes, I felt exactly the same. You kind of feel like yourself, but you don't. But you kind of feel very and split, I think is the way to put it. And after seeing her, the things that happened afterwards were really like, it wasn't just coincidence. It was really, really profound.
So this is the little step formula that I feel is really easy and really practical to do. And it helps you just take that time out to think about yourself and to think about where you're going in your direction. Because we can often get caught up in maybe metrics, in the next shiny object or those bigger goals. So the first thing is
Hello and welcome to the Real Biz Life Chronicles, where we discuss all things business, branding, and life from the Horizon Digital podcast recording studio here in Perth. I'm your host, Tracy Fryer, the founder of Design Studio Perth. And because Design Studio Perth is dedicated to helping business owners grow with distinction through captivating branding and design, we're offering all our listeners a free brand discovery. So if you find yourself frustrated with your current branding and marketing and aren't too sure where to next, use a link in the show notes below to book in a time to have a chat. Now, I don't know about you, but I find the best conversations are had over a great cup of coffee. And so the coffee for each episode of the Real Biz Life Chronicles is brewed for us by no other than the legends at Cuppa Cartel. They're fueling great conversations one cuppa at a time. Now, the Real Biz Life Chronicles is on a mission to become one of Australia's leading business podcasts, but in order to do that, we please need your help. If you do enjoy today's episode, we please ask that you like and subscribe to our channels below, or simply share this episode with a fellow business owner who is doing one of the hardest things in the world, building a business. Now, if there is a question you'd like us to ask our guests, please feel free to pop it in the comments section below, or simply send us an email at info@therealbizlifechronicles.com. My guest today is back, and this time she's not just tuning energy, she's tuning truth. The last time this lovely lady graced the mic, we explored how sound can shift your state. But since then, her own frequency has changed. She has moved through doubt, expanded her edge, and evolved into something more powerful. A visibility mentor helping women step into the light, own their voice, and show up in business with no apologies. She didn't get here by playing it safe. From podcast host to sound healer, she's walked a winding path that forced her to confront fear, perfectionism, and the seductive pull of hiding. Those who know her call her grounded, radiant, and quietly fierceful. But that fire didn't just happen. She built it. With breathwork, with sound, with truth-telling, and with a deep belief that your energy speaks before you do. This episode is about stepping into your power when no one's handing you a mic. It's about turning your own voice into your loudest and clearest asset. So glad to have you back. Anna Hastie, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, Tracy. It's so wonderful to be here. I am like ready to fire with you.
I know. Oh my gosh, we've had quite an interesting, for our listeners, quite an interesting intro. You've gone from saxophonist to war veteran. So I do
I
apologize.
know. I was just like, oh my goodness, I should Google my name more often. Like I know I come up in YouTube as a musician, which,
Right.
playing crystal singing bowls I am, but there is like a actual guitarist or something. She's there. And I know also in Australia somewhere, I think it's in Victoria, I'm a dentist.
As well. Right.
Yeah, I have some
Interesting.
really great professions behind me. Currently,
Precisely. A lady of all the trades.
I know, right? I do like being the idea of a war veteran or
I
a
know.
war correspondent, though. I feel like that's such a complete opposite from, journalism and being in that chaos and all the things that journalism, I guess, can bring to the forefront. Everything that actually I really don't like about TV, to being a sound healer and an energy healer and someone who coaches women in business. I mean, this is amazing.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Well, it's so great to see you again.
Anyway.
Anna, what can our listeners expect to learn today?
Yes, so I would love to share with your listeners and you, Tracy, all about quantum leaping because I
Mm.
feel like at this moment in time, we're in this time of year where we're getting towards we're moving through the last quarter. We're starting to set horizons and sights and thoughts and feelings about the new year. And quantum leaping is one of those buzzwords that you hear a lot, I feel like not only in the personal development space or spiritual development space, but also within business. Like, particularly some of the mentors and coaches and business people I follow, like, quantum leaping is this really big buzzword. So, I'd love to share today with your listeners what a little bit more about quantum leaping is and how they can actually tune into that to um, create an amazing and epic 2026 and even to help them support them in this last quarter that we're in for 2025.
Awesome. So, Anna, maybe for our listeners, you could explain what quantum leaping is.
Yeah, absolutely. So it basically is the collapsing of timelines between where you are now and where you want to go or where you're seeing yourself. So, for example, it would be your future self,
Mm.
right? So we all have ourselves as we are right now, and then there is, the goal or the version or the person that you would like to be or you're aiming to be or that you're calling in and all the things that happen around you. So your business, relationships, money, community, friends, family, all those aspects of yourself,
Mm.
you're actually bringing that closer and faster towards the present moment. So we're collapsing down what is called timelines. Now, we exist on different timelines. There isn't just one timeline that exists out there. There isn't just this linear timeline that we have been told or taught in schools that there is. That's just a construct.
Mm.
And I'll give a really good example of how there are different timelines in a moment. But Gay Hendricks in the book The Big Leap, he also talks about Einstein time, which is where we can actually call in time and we can make time happen. We can have more time rather than having less time. So really, at the end of the day, time is just something that we've created. It's a thing that gets put on a round clock or on your
Yeah.
watch or on the corner of your laptop or on your phone, and we sort of follow this idea that there is a past, a present, and a future, and that we're existing just on this one like long stretch of a timeline, however you might visualize or imagine that to be. But what we're doing with a quantum leap is basically taking you from where you are in the present moment and bringing that aspect of your future self from whichever timeline it's on into the present moment. So you're bringing that in faster in a more quicker way. In an essence, it also falls hand in hand with that idea of manifestation,
Mm.
that we're setting goals, we're setting intentions, we're wanting to call in those aspects in to bring it into now. And that's what the quantum leap is.
So, where do we start? Where do I sign up?
Okay, I know, right? Because this is what we all want, isn't it?
Yeah.
We're all working towards our goals and our intentions and the future of, for our family, for ourselves, and we're all wanting to have those things that we're wanting to call in right now, right? Like because we're pretty impatient people, really, at the end of the
Yes,
day. We want things
definitely.
yesterday, right? But we also have to go through the process and the journey of this collapsing the timelines to sort of call in that aspect of yourself
Mm.
like sooner or quicker or into this present moment. So as I said, like we exist on different timelines, and I truly do believe this because in a recent experience I had within last year on a personal level, I'll share with you. I actually had my car stolen and it was written off. And in that moment and that time of processing the destruction of my beloved car, because she represented everything that I was,
Oh,
um, I just loved her so much. She was like everything.
yeah.
And to have her like stolen was just a really like, it's a horrible thing to happen to
It's
anybody, right?
awful.
Nobody wants
Yeah.
a vehicle or anything stolen from you.
Mm.
And afterwards, the days afterwards, it was just like not only was I grieving for the loss of my car and the thought that someone had come into my house and stolen my
Oh,
keys
it
and then
was
took
stolen
it for
from
a
your
joyride.
house, was it?
Yeah, so it
Oh,
was stolen from my house
invasion.
in the middle of the night. So it was a bit of a shock considering we've got a small ch at the time, like I was pregnant, but I was we've got our baby. So, we got another child. So it was all very like, oh, people came into our house, all those things. Anyway,
Yeah.
it was the days afterwards that I was feeling really like I could only describe it really out of sorts if I just
Mm.
had to blanket the term. I didn't feel like myself. I kept saying to my husband, I feel like I want to leave Broome. I feel like I want to just pack up and sell everything. I don't want to be here. I'm not happy. Like this has just totally derailed me in all the ways, shapes, and forms. And all I could think was like, okay, I know there's something bigger happening here. I don't feel um, this is this I don't feel right within myself, and I don't feel like this experience can really warrant this need to leave my hometown so dramatically. What's going on? So I booked in a session with my healer, and she actually found that I was existing on two different timelines in that
Oh,
moment. And what happened was a part of me years ago, who knows when, split a bit of my soul, kind of not, I wouldn't say soul, but a bit of me had a decision to make, and part of me actually went in one direction, and a part of me went in the current direction that I am in now, the one that I fully believe, like
oh.
98% of
Mm.
myself, right?
Mm.
And what happened was this other 2% of me was living like we're going to say the shit show of life
Yeah.
and having all these terrible experiences and times to the point where she had to jump back into this timeline, and she brought across some of the crap that she's been experiencing to help get brought back into this timeline. But within that jump, there was not like the integration hadn't been completed. So I felt out of sorts while I was trying to bring in this other aspect of me from another timeline. I know this sounds mad, right? This
No, it
sounds
doesn't. It
completely
doesn't.
mad to the normal,
Yeah.
to anybody else, you'd be like, what the hell is this you're
I'm
talking
like,
about?
I love this shit.
Honestly, it made so much sense to
I do,
me.
yeah.
And what happened was she just really had this rough time of living in Broome while I've had a really sort of great time.
Mm.
But what this experience, and I actually felt it because I said to my healer, I said, I don't feel like there was actual real people that came and took my car. I feel like something else was at play. And she said, well, this is because of this. So
Oh.
whether in real time there were people coming in, I don't know, the police identified people in the end, blah, blah, blah. But
Mm.
it just feels like it felt like I was split, I didn't feel like I was myself. And so she integrated us back into the whole. So we brought this 2% of me back in to make me 100%, and to help her realize that that time that she'd experienced is done, it's over. And now we're into this positive, more supportive, more loving, more abundant kind of life again.
Yes.
And since then, and then from that moment, it felt like I was more whole within myself, and it felt like everything had shifted, and I wasn't no longer in this weird. I kept saying to my husband, I feel like I'm in a time warp. Like I don't feel like I should be here or there. I don't feel like I'm existing properly. It was weird. It was just one of the most weirdest feelings I'd ever had. But once the integration had happened, and we'd healed that aspect of myself that had gone through the hell and the shit show of life, things felt so much better. And I actually felt like it was for me, because those timelines merged, I also felt like I was stepping into this essence of myself that I'd been calling in that hadn't happened. And that's what I call now the entrepreneuress.
Mm.
It's an aspect of myself. So you could say like I quantum leaped in that moment to bring in this aspect of myself, which I call the entrepreneuress. So she is the queen, the goddess. She is the mother. She is the woman who leads and runs her life in the way that's authentic to her.
I'm goosebumping as we speak because I had a very
I
similar experience.
I hope to goodness your your listeners haven't gone, right, let's listen to the next episode. This
No,
lady.
well, it's so true because I had quite a I want to say traumatic year last year, and I went to see a healer, and it was the most incredible experience. Like she had come recommended, And anyway, I lay in her bed and she doesn't like touch you, just places her hands and sort of, like again, just runs them above. Sounds really dodgy, but anyway, it was great.
Yes.
And obviously shifts your energy. And afterwards, she said the same. Now, I can't remember the exact percentage, but she said from that trauma, your soul somewhat steps out of your body. And it's very similar to what you've explained. When when you go through that trauma, you kind of, your soul steps out, but then you need to call it back in because you almost can't quite process what's happening and your human mind's trying to, but your soul's kind of exiting. It sounds a bit out there. Now I know how you felt. But yes, I felt exactly the same. You kind of feel like yourself, but you don't, but you kind of feel very and split, I think is the way
Mm.
to put it. And after seeing her, the things that happened afterwards were really like, it wasn't just coincidence. It was really, really profound. So I am all for what you've spoken about. It all makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And I feel like this is one thing I do believe is that the more that we are more familiar with this spiritual or energetic aspect of ourselves as business owners or leaders, and we own that and we can, essentially, I don't want to say harness it, but just be in touch with it, or we have more guidance around it, or we're more aware of it,
Mm.
it actually helps and leads us to being better business people and owners and everything that we are outside of the work that we do, right?
Yeah, 100%. And again, I can really relate to what you're saying. I've done a lot of work the last sort of 3 years, and it's just been, the impact on the way I show up as a business owner, as a leader, and a human has been great. So
Mm.
it's definitely beneficial. It's sometimes very scary to face all these things because it's
Oh,
kind of the
absolutely.
unknown, and your mind says, "Oh no, that's a load of nonsense. You sound like a fruitcake," but it's actually very powerful stuff.
Yeah, I think the more it becomes more freely and commonly talked about, people will realize, oh, actually, I've had an experience like that, but I didn't
Mm.
know that was what that was. And there's no longer this question of like woo-woo versus science or woo-woo versus mad, like, or you're a bit weird or a bit crazy for having those beliefs, or you sit with crystals and things like that around your work desk. It's going to be like, oh, that's really, it's really more accepted and appreciated.
Yeah, definitely. And again, it's like why shut out any opportunity to be a better version of yourself? If having a crystal on your desk or, seeing an energy healer is actually going to help you, even though you might not logically understand it. Like what's you got to lose, right?
Absolutely. 100%. I think it's all about that evolution into knowing and understanding your soul purpose and who you are and being in alignment with that rather than um, suppressing an aspect of yourself that can give you some solid and great guidance and advice. Like if we all tuned in more into our like intuition, into our higher self, that aspect of ourself, less into the ego and the fear,
Mm.
then we are actually able to be really amazing at what we can create and what we can hold and what we can do. And I feel like that is more of what's being sort of infused within the business world and the entrepreneurial world as we're moving forwards. Um, Coming back to quantum leaping, and what I'm seeing and feeling right now is that this is the time where it's beneficial to us to connect with this aspect of ourselves that's living on these different timelines and calling them in and bringing them into the now. So now I'm sure Tracy, you can ask the next question. So how do we do that? How do we do that? How can we all quantum leap? So 2026 is going to be like whiz bang amazing. Um,
Totally.
Absolutely. So this is the little step formula that I feel is really easy and really practical to do. And it helps you just take that time out to think about yourself
Mm.
and to think about where you're going in your direction. Because we can often get caught up in maybe metrics in the next shiny object or those bigger goals, but are they really in alignment with what maybe are values for us or how we authentically want to live and experience life? So the first thing is to get really clear. Decide what is it that you want, and what is it not so much what you're wanting, but what are you desiring?
Mm.
Because wanting has sometimes the energy of it's like saying that I want, but it's more like begging energy, or it's more like saying that there's a lack of kind of energy. Whereas if you desire something, or you're calling it in, or you're setting the intention, it's got more of that power that this is really going to come for you. So who do you want to be right now, and where do you want to go, or what do you want to do, like achieve or accomplish, not just only in business, but in life as well? Like how is all of that happening? What are your goals or intentions for this quarter or for the quarter one of the next year or the year or even like 5 years, which sometimes blows my mind because I'm like, how can I get to like 5 years? Like, where am I in 5 years? I don't know where I am in the next week. But
Yeah.
and this is where you decide, all right, what are you going to decide that you're wanting to call in? What is it that your goals are? What are your intentions? Get really clear on that.
Mm.
Then you're going to declare it. You're going to affirm that this is what you want. So, in this aspect, it's where you sort of start creating your beliefs. And you could also make these more like your affirmations. So, for example, if your intention is to make that that seven-figure business next year, it's like I am a seven-figure business owner, or if there's other specific goals, like I'm growing my podcast to reach X amount of people or X amount of countries or whatever it is. When you affirm that goal, it's there's two things in there. Firstly, get really delusional, get really crazy in terms of,
Love that.
yeah, I know, really delusional. Get really crazy in terms of what you're going to be doing and what you really want. Like really visualize and step into that and create those affirmations. But the next thing to do is look at whether or not those affirmations actually feel strong, solid, and safe. Because the truth is, we can say all things like, I could say easily, like, oh, I'm going to be a multi seven figure business owner next year. Well, that sounds great. And you never know, collapse of timeline could happen. But
Yeah.
my nervous system and my inner self and my ego goes, well, hold on a moment.
Mm.
You're still in around the six-figure area. Where do you think you're going to get the seven-figure from? Like, how is this going to happen? So your mind starts questioning it because it's not a normal, natural thing that's already within you.
Mm.
It's not within your nervous system. It's not within your, easily believable aspects of your life right now. So if there's something within you, even if it's like, say, for example, weight loss or um, something health related, if you're not actually fully backed behind that belief, if there is a little like smidgen of doubt in there or even fear, that is going to play stronger than the affirmation.
Yeah.
So this is where, while you're going through and you're looking at who is this version of you, what are they doing, how are they showing up, what do they act and look like, how are they dressing, what are their daily self-care activities, their non-negotiables, their boundaries, their actions. Like while you're getting really delusional on all the things that you want to be and how you are and how you're showing up and creating these beautiful like affirmations or affirming this goal, these intentions around who you are and who you're showing up as, if there's a smidgen of doubt within that, that's where it may not happen in the most easeful or quick aligned way. It's something that needs to be reviewed and reprogrammed or recalibrated, because your subconscious mind will sit there and be like, well, actually, you know what, we only know what
Yeah.
six figure earning is. Seven figure is like amazing, but how are we going to do that? And that feels so out of reach. And when we get to seven figures, like, what are people going to think of us? Or, that might mean it's going to create more obstacles or more responsibility or more of our time. So all of those things may start impacting on your ability to get there because you have those doubts, you have that fear, you have that what your subconscious mind is trying to do and your ego is trying to do is to reason with you as to why it's not possible.
Mm.
So this is kind of where uh, reviewing these affirmations, reviewing where they might be sitting, can help you also figure out, all right, is what do I need to clear here? What do I need to like delete? What do I need to reprogram? What do I need to recalibrate to help sort of affirm and strengthen this desire of my quantum leaping or of reaching these goals and intentions? So the other aspect of something that I really want to share with you is that once you've done this idea of like, okay, I've created this goal, I've created the intentions, I'm reviewing and looking at what I look like and what I feel like and how I'm showing up and what I'm doing to be that person, like I'm really being in that.
Mm.
Once you affirm, like, find that if there's any like those doubts or things, that's where you need to clear it. So that's where mindset work comes in. That's where it's great to get to that root cause or the root code of what that limiting belief or block is, to clear and shift it to help you move forwards. Because then what's going to happen is once you've shifted something like that, you're going to actually review those goals or intentions and you're going to review that aspect of yourself and be like, is that still in alignment for me? Do I
Mm.
still feel like I really resonate with that? Is that something that I really want? And a really great example is actually last night I was listening to a lecture by Catherine Zinkina from Manifestation Babe, and she was talking about this, a similar topic. And she said, years ago, when I did my Tony Robbins course, I had this idea that as, a self-made millionaire, I would be wearing like business suits and high heels, and I'd look very corporate and very like styled and things like that. And she said, I couldn't be far from the truth right now. For
Yeah, right.
me, what actually makes me feel like a seven-figure business owner, like a multi-million business owner, is someone who lounges around at home in really nice PJs, in sweatpants, in activewear, with my dogs, with my hubby, with my baby, and we just sit on the couch and I do my work from my laptop. Like that for me is who I am. So
Yeah.
she realized that over time, this idea and vision of herself didn't align anymore.
Mm.
And what she was and who she really was like something perhaps you could say in the complete opposite, but sounds so like really delightfully relaxed anyway, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so thinking about who you are and feeling into all these aspects of yourself are really important, but do they really align? Is it just something that's just like a whim, or is it and a desire, or is it like a not a desire but a whim and a like a bit frivolous, or is it really like solid, like this is how I really want to show up?
Mm.
So shifting and changing those blocks or limiting beliefs or and clearing the way makes you review it again, go, all right, okay, how am I showing up now? What am I going to do? How's this going to be? Yes, this still feels aligned for me. Yes, I still want to have those goals or intentions. Let's go for gold.
I love it. It's so
Yeah.
weird. I feel like the universe is speaking to me because pretty much what you said, I heard echoed on another podcast with Mel Robbins, and she had a lady on there who's a graphic designer, and she's done like a course that people can do, and it's also about being intentional with your life. And then she says design is a tool that helps us, create a life intentionally of how we want it to look. And she said getting really clear, like you just said, on those goals, thinking about yourself. I think she said like 10 years ahead, and like you say, it's mind blowing
Mm.
because I can't even think that far ahead, but really think like getting clear, who is it that you want to be? Are you living with someone, or where do you see yourself as a business owner? And yeah, it's so powerful. I think I need to take some notes from that episode and this one because yeah, it's very,
Yeah,
very similar and closely aligned. It's crazy. I'm
absolutely.
yeah, goosebumping.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the one important thing here is that after clearing everything and setting yourself up is to really rehearse this regularly and look at aspects of that person that you do want to be. And are you bringing that into your life right now? Like this is an actual key step of the quantum leaping of the manifestation of collapsing those timelines. So for example, for me, I have this beautiful idea
Yeah.
that my future self is, she's getting weekly massages, she's getting
Nice.
facials, she's doing all those really nice self-care indulgent things. Does that actually happen in the present moment on a weekly basis? Far from it. So if
Yeah.
I'm wanting to connect with that version of myself, why am I waiting until I'm there to get that? And why am I not speeding it up and embodying it now and doing those practices now to reaffirm to myself that that's how I am in that future moment?
Mm.
And that when I get to those moments where all the other things that coincide in the jigsaw puzzle pieces of my goals and intentions and that person aspect of me is all aligned, when I get to that, it won't feel so dysregulating or so weird or so unusual for me because it's already natural and normal. So
Yeah.
if you're the kind of person who on a weekly basis wants to go and get your nails done, I'm speaking to your female listeners here
Yeah,
anyway.
of course.
Apologies
That's
to the
okay. I
guys.
think that's your thing.
Maybe for you it's to go, I don't know, hang out with your mates and do something. I don't know what it is.
Or go to the barber.
What do guys do these days? If you're not already taking time to do those things, then how are you going to expect that, why are we waiting for our future self aspect to that occur to make it happen, or
Yeah.
to then be able to do it or give ourselves permission to do it? That's something that you can easily start infusing now. If, for example, it's wanting to call in your ideal relationship, right? Because you might be a mega boss babe in your business, but
Yeah.
relationship is something that you're really, really, really craving, and just to have that special soulmate person. What do you do in your life to welcome them in, apart from, going on dates and things like that? But are you making space in your house for them? Have you cut them a spare key so they can just, come over and make dinner for you on the fly and on a surprise?
That sounds
Have you
great.
got space in your wardrobe for them? Have you
Yeah.
what are you doing actually to welcome them into your life physically? Because if you're not, that's it. That you're kind of blocking yourself energetically to opening and allowing that person in, right?
Makes sense.
So, um, the other thing that's really important, I feel like, and this is something that often gets missed, is once you've reached that aspect of yourself and you've hit that goal, you've claimed this new era that you're in, how are you maintaining this?
Yeah.
So even within your visions or your visualizations or your daydreaming of this future self and achieving the goals and getting to the thing and um, you know, manifesting what it is that you're desiring, where are you taking yourself beyond that point?
Mm.
So you may have reached it at a certain time point, but then what's happening after that? Are you still maintaining those regular facials and massages and getting your nails done and things like that? Or is because it doesn't just stop, right? It doesn't just go, oh, we got there, stop.
Yeah.
Thank goodness I go back to my old ways.
No.
No, you're creating and you're change and you're, I guess you're I don't want to say changing. It's more like you're improving yourself in a way
Constant
to meet
progress. Yeah.
that, yeah, to meet
Mm.
yourself in this new aspect and form. So it's everything that goes beyond that moment in time as well. It's not just that moment. I mean, it's a bit like what happens after Christmas.
Yeah.
After we've bought all the presents, wrapped them up,
It's
you
all the
know,
food.
prepared the Christmas dinner, organized who's bringing what, talk to the family, blah, blah, blah. What happens after that? Like what happens
Mm.
on Boxing Day or what's happening, on January the 1st or what's happening on the 15th of January, like what's happening after that? Like
Yeah.
where are we going from there? So it's that kind of aspect as well. That I feel that's another I feel like is a very key point that often gets missed within this idea of manifesting or the quantum leaping into where you're going.
Mm. And Anna, what are some tools or practices that our listeners can start to implement? I know for myself, a vision board has worked really well. And then I
Yes.
journal and pray, I have a morning routine. And I just find like reminding myself every morning of those goals. And you're right, when you get there, and it's crazy when you get there because you think, oh my gosh, it feels so unachievable at the time. Then you get there and kind of shifting the bar. Like those are the practices I've engaged in my life and implemented, which have been really, really good. What suggestions do you have for our listeners?
Yeah, I think they're really great practices that you've got. Like definitely a vision board, so much
Mm,
fun to create.
so
Look,
much.
everybody get your Canva on.
I won't judge you for saying that. No, it's fine.
No, no,
That was great.
everybody get, yeah, sorry, there you go, Tracy. But everybody, just at home, you can, or if, look, I have tried recently to do a vision board and found some magazines to cut out, but it was a little bit difficult. Maybe let's say
Yeah.
get your Pinterest on, and go through and you can find all your, find things that give you meaning and understanding. And because like nowadays you can have vision boards on your phone, on your laptop
So
screen,
accessible.
like printed, choose all the mediums where they're going to be there regularly.
Mm,
I also do believe that affirmations do work. As long as you're feeling really solid and backed behind it, and there's no fear, doubt, or unworthiness or any question that it's not going to happen, as long as you know it is, you can definitely affirmations, repeating them, reading them, and then even just in your own time, it doesn't take long. Like literally, sometimes I have a prompt that comes up on my phone, like a reminder, a scheduled reminder, and it'll be just like tune into XXX energy or tune into XYZ. And I know that's my moment to go, all right, all I have to do is just touch point on how it would feel, like that energy or um that that belief or that I mean we can all relate to it no matter how we whether we visualize, we're visual, we're audio, we're kinetic or whatever, but
yeah.
just feel or sense into what is that version of you in that moment doing
Mm,
what? Like what does that represent for you? And that it just has to be a quick ping to remind you to do that. So I do find like reminders on my phone because it helps you sometimes just snap you out of the day-to-day chaos and go,
yeah.
all right, okay, let's just take a moment to take a breath. Let's
Mm.
do this. Um, I also feel like going to places like a sound bath is really great
Oh,
because
love it.
what they in that place and space, that's a meditation all in its own.
Mm,
Sound has the capability of tapping into your subconscious mind, into the brainwave states that activate your subconscious. So if you're lying there in a sound bath or a meditation like that, and you're hearing all these beautiful frequencies and sounds, you can take yourself on that journey and you can take yourself on your own little meditation journey inside your mind of what you're wanting to play out, what you're wanting to bring forwards, because your subconscious will then start programming it more and more. The more times that you visualize it, the more times you mentally rehearse it, the more times you go over and over and over it in your head, and it will begin to believe that it's real right
yeah.
now. The beauty of your subconscious mind is it doesn't know what's real or imaginary. It only knows what you constantly feed it.
Yeah.
Okay. And it doesn't know what the past or the future is. It only knows what now is. So if you're using your time wisely, and time wisely, I should say, sounds so weird, in a sound bath, but you might be going there because you just want to relax and you just want to shift something, or you just want to have, some time for yourself. And that's beautiful. But
Yeah.
in that, you're receiving these sounds that program your subconscious mind that can actually like tap into brainwave states, theta, alpha, perfect subconscious mind brainwave states. And
Mm.
if you're feeding it this visualization of you going on this, um, this aspect, or setting this goal, or sorry, achieving this goal, achieving your intention, being this version of yourself, your subconscious mind only sees that as a current film strip, and it will be like, wow, that is actually happening right now. That's amazing. And
Mm.
it will then do what it needs to do to talk to the universe, your higher self, spirit, whatever it is, to call in and bring those things forwards, give you the guidance, show you how to take action, bring those opportunities forwards so that you can get closer and closer to that quantum leap to where you need to go.
Mm. And it definitely does work. I think, going for sound healing is a very productive use of time, especially for busy, like business owners. You actually just stop and yeah, it feels weird for the first probably 15 minutes, but once you kind of get into it, it's really so healing. And like I said before, I always find the things that happen thereafter are always quite profound. That it might be someone opens up to you or someone says something, or yeah, I can't explain, but it's really so great.
Absolutely. And
Mm.
I feel like there's one also thing I'd like to share is that at some point, I do believe we're quantum leaping all the time. Like we
Mm.
are step by step manifesting, we're achieving those things each time to get yourself on board. And I think this is a really good technique as well. Something again that I learned from Catherine Zenkina was what she calls the ladder of believability. So
Okay.
our subconscious mind, the way it works is that it only knows what is now, and anything that perhaps is it deems as being outside of your normal could be a threat, or could be scary, or could keep could make things unsafe for you. So its job is to keep you safe. So if for example this is a really good one. My One of my goals and intentions is to be at a place and space in my life where I can travel, fly anywhere I want, but fly business or fly first class. Like I
Yeah.
love watching YouTube. I love watching a particular couple called Cara and Nate, and they always do like they always get these amazing first class like travel experiences on planes, and I just love watching their videos because I'm like, that's showing me that that's possible for
Yeah.
me. Like I could have that
Vision.
too one day.
Mm.
But right now, my whole nervous system, or my whole body and my mind, particularly my subconscious mind, the idea of going from economy to first class seems like the biggest stretch in the whole entire planet. Like
Mm.
that seems far out of my league. Like, how would I afford that? That's so expensive. Would they allow kids in there? All those things, right? And it feels too scary. It feels too unsafe. I feel like, oh, could happen, but it won't. Like it will happen for everybody else, but not me. So
Mm.
already there's a programming in me that says that something like that, like luxury travel, is not possible. And to travel first class would just mean hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Mm.
It would be just impossible for me. So what happens is that to now I'm almost going to lose where I was going. So hold on a
That's okay.
moment.
All good.
So you don't sabotage these moments and or sabotage you from achieving them. Um, what happens is that feels like such a big stretch. Your mind, your subconscious mind's going, that's not possible for us. That's just too far in the future. Forget it. Or that's not possible for you, not necessarily the future, but too far. You can't do that. So it's reminding you of that fear, and it wants to keep you safe because it's way out of your normal existence, right? But you by using the ladder of believability, climb one rung at a time to reprogram yourself that one day being in business, being in first class is perfectly normal, and you are entitled to that, right? Or you are worthy of doing that. And to
Mm.
do that, you create those little steps of believability each and every single time. So perhaps next time I fly, it won't be that I'll book economy, but I'll look where I can upgrade to premium economy, right? So I get a bit more at the front of the plane, a
Yeah,
bit more
yeah.
legroom, right? Maybe when I do want to do another flight, I'll look into how can I get how can I do it with business? Like
Yeah.
with points, sorry, I should say, how can I do it with points to get into business? Where can I upgrade in that respect? Like I will look for ways that I can perhaps get that flight eventually so that each time I do fly, it's normal. Maybe it's like just paying. I know years ago I had the frequent flyer status to go into like the lounges.
Okay.
Clearly I haven't flown enough recently, but maybe it's just paying to go into the lounge and just sit there and be like, this is where I'll be when I
Step
fly
by
first
step.
class.
Yeah.
Like this is what I get to experience. Or doing things like that so that each time you do it, your system is like, okay, we know that this is okay for us. We're perfectly fine. We're loving life. We feel great. It's an amazing experience. This is normal for us.
Yeah.
So that's how we don't sabotage it. Because sometimes if we do those massive big leaps, it could feel exciting at the time, but there's still that aspect of this will never happen again for me, or I'm not worthy of it. And in some way, shape, or form, we'll often find that we sabotage that whole experience in
Mm.
itself. Um, yeah. And then the other thing I wanted to add was that often with those big leaps, those big shifts, even if they're like, we are shifting into that new identity aspect of ourselves. And I've seen it a lot recently through social media and people that I follow, is that we go through what's like the crumbling or that dark night of the soul
Mm.
or the shamanic death. So there's a part of us where we may feel like we're not achieving the goal or something's collapsing around us. Maybe we get really sick or, car gets stolen,
Yeah.
something happens, and we're actually going through what feels like the horrors or the hell, the fiery depths of hell. And it's actually our system breaking away and letting go and purging the old to allow the new in. Because
Yeah.
another aspect of us is that we kind of attract more and more of what we want
Mm.
when we're still running on old programs, but we got to let go of what we're no longer desiring, what no longer serves us to allow the new to come in. So that's that's the other aspect that you may feel. You may feel like, wow, I just went through like the hellest week on earth. Everything just felt it was like blah 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 blah. It was terrible, but review it in that moment. Like, what did I learn from this? What is happening for me? And then where you come out the other side, review it like, oh my goodness, I've just come out the other side and I feel like I'm a completely new and different person. Like I felt like I've stepped into, for me, the entrepreneuress or
Yeah.
that aspect of yourself or that thing that you've been calling in.
And was there a challenging time that kind of created that shift? So you mentioned the car. Was there anything else that's kind of, I know with myself, I'm just reflecting on my own journey. There's been a few profound things that have happened, and it's just catapulted me into this whole new way of thinking. And something else I wanted to mention, when we do level up our lives, I think another thing that kind of underestimated that it can impact every area. So your friendship circles, your relationships, your marriage, your everything. And I can see how people would sabotage that because that could essentially change if you do achieve those goals that you want to.
Absolutely. And I think in that moment, there's this sense of that's one of the hidden fears. We have a
Mm.
hidden fear. We have like sometimes the over I want to say like a surface level fear, but then we often have like this deeper hidden fear which actually is the real one that's holding us back. And it's the thought that who am I going to lose? What's going to happen to me? What will be destroyed? What won't be safe anymore if this happens?
Mm.
So, for example, if I now start telling friends and family, oh, I'm traveling first class and business, like people are often I know for a fact, I know some friends will be like, you're spending how much on business? Well, they
Yep.
might not know that I'm doing it with points or, some sort of like a flight, what's it? A flight upgrade hack. There's
Yeah.
plenty of
I've
hacks out
heard
there,
about
right?
those. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, they might not know that, but their immediate thought was like, whoa, she's got a lot of money and she's blowing it on like class travel. Like there's people out there that are starving, they don't have a penny to their name.
Yeah.
So it's those underlying thoughts and fears that we need to address to realize that okay, that and at the same time is their opinion and they're welcome to it, that's
Yeah.
fine, but does that still align with you to does that still sorry, what I'm trying to say
It's
here is
like that thought make you sabotage because you think of that. You think, oh, you're going to be open for like judgment and all those
yes,
sorts of
yes, that's
things.
right. There'll
Yeah.
be that
Yeah.
element of judgment. Exactly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tracy.
Yeah. It's okay.
Yeah, so there'll be that aspect of judgment coming through that, oh, people are going to judge me because I get to do this. So in the terms of like losing friends or family in that, at the end of the day, you can't really truly lose family, I don't feel,
No.
because your family are with you for life. But you can be that example
Hmm.
of what they can have if they were to also do the work on themselves, if they were also to change and shift their own programming, if they were to also sit down and go, all right, what is it that I want? What is it that I don't want? What am I, what is like my vision? What is it that I'm willing to clear and shape so I can have those manifestations and have that life? Because I feel, because there's plenty of, coaches and mentors that I follow where they literally they had to let go of some friends because they just didn't align, and some family members. But for some that were the doubt and the naysayers, they've actually now jumped on board and gone, how did
Yeah.
you do that again? Can I
Mm.
get in on that too? And not in a way of like, handout,
Yeah, of
but
course.
just
Yeah.
naturally being, well, that okay, so you can do that. Okay, right. Show me how you do it. Let's get on board. Let's do this together. So I feel that there is that underlying fear that we might lose people over it, but the strength within us is to whether or not we're going to allow that to influence us, knowing that what we want is in true alignment for us, or are we going to step back and be like everybody else to keep everybody else happy, knowing that we're not happy within ourselves?
Yeah. And that's something I experienced. You have this calling in your life, but you kind of shove it down all the time because we're so conditioned to be a certain way, or we don't want. I don't know. Maybe sometimes it's nonsense that we feed ourselves. We don't want others to feel out of place or inadequate, or how would they feel if I did X, Y, and Z. But I
Mm,
think for me, I just reached a stage where that calling just became too loud, and think I'm really glad you've highlighted that you have to be so intentional with your life. And I was never like this 3 years ago. I just, happy go lucky, go here, go there, started my business. Like I underestimated the power of being intentional, also know the power of focus, and just how that can impact absolutely everything that you do. And I think I've kind of moved to a place, and I'm not saying, I don't care what people think. I think I've just moved to a place where I'm so clear on the purpose of my life and where it's going, that if people are on that journey or not, like great, but if they aren't, also great. So it's kind of it's a weird place to be in, but I'm actually really glad like I've got there. And I think my journaling has really helped remind me every single day of
mm.
what my calling is, what I'm set out to do, to serve a greater purpose than just myself at the end of the day.
Absolutely. Yeah,
Mm,
absolutely. I
yeah.
think journaling is a great one too, because it can give you that clear insight and understanding of like what is happening within your mind, what is happening in your day to day,
Mm,
what is happening in the world around you at the moment. It gives you a great place to process.
yeah.
If people are not a pen and paper person, just voice noting, just like
Yeah. So good.
verbally vomiting into your phone onto voice notes and then deleting it. I think that's even a great
Yeah,
way
that's
as
actually really
well.
good.
Yeah, it's a really great way to just process and allow, to talk things out with yourself as well. It can actually be really helpful to understand, oh, okay, all right. And looking at it from those perspectives. And as well, like aligning yourself with someone who can support you. So
Yes.
business mentor, mindset coach, life coach, someone who can help you also be on that that third party perspective and help ask you these questions, because sometimes we do need those deeper questions to really probe and, figure them out,
Totally.
help us highlight what it is that we do and don't want. Yeah.
Mm. And also someone to challenge us or like push us as well, or call us our
Mm.
BS.
Yeah,
That's a big
absolutely.
part of my journey. Like you said before, we're so conditioned to think a certain way, but having someone who opens your mind to, well, like, have you thought about this or have you thought about doing that? And slowly,
Hmm.
just like you said earlier, climbing up those rungs on the ladder, it kind of
Yes,
becomes more achievable. But having that person to really guide you and hold you accountable is crucial.
absolutely. Yeah.
Anna, I'd love to know, what does success look like to you?
Ooh,
Bad
oh, it's a
business
good.
class.
Yeah, I know, right? Let's do this. So, success for me right now is having the flexibility and freedom to be with my family. So, I've recently just had my second baby,
Yes,
and
congratulations.
thank you. And I feel like the blend of motherhood and business is a really wild ride.
Yeah,
But for me, it's to have that flexibility to be with my family when, if one of my daughters is not well, or, when my husband has to go back to work, just to be able to be there for my family is really important for me. Actually, during maternity leave, I let go of a lot of my business. I know some
Yeah.
people would be like, you did what? I'm like, no, I just had to actually
Yeah.
down tools.
Mm.
And I actually had another business coach said, oh, you could still do this, or you could show up here or do that. And I said, no, I actually really need to like just step away and just have a reboot
Yeah,
and
good on you.
be really present with my family. So
Mm.
I actually intentionally let close my books to a lot of things.
Oh, did
So
you?
family
Yeah.
is really important. That's to me is success. Like
Yeah.
to have a business where I can support, where I do support my family, like financially, as well as being present and being there and have that flexibility to, go to school, school assemblies and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, success for me is also being able to do what I love and having fun doing what I love and growing with that, as well as lots of all the stuff I love, all the inner work as well that goes with it, Tracy, the
Any scary
transformation.
work.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, and I think you've highlighted something else really important that is that the priority it shifts, right? So it was your business and then you had another baby. And I think you kind of just, it doesn't sound like you fought that. You kind of went with the flow and now you're kind of coming back into it. Would I be right in saying that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I feel like I feel like definitely the way how I was performing pre-kids is definitely
Mm.
the way I'm performing now.
Yes.
And with my first baby, like my first daughter, going back to work was just like I was ready for it. I was so ready. I was really like strong and firing, like everything was go. But now when you got two kids in the mix, it gets a little bit more of a juggle of life, literally.
Definitely.
But it's different. There is a new aspect of me. There's a new way that wants to operate and not be so much in perhaps that hustle culture that I had been found myself slipping into last time. It's now looking at where everything feels good, where are things that I can let go of, where I can prioritize my time, how can I work the most efficiently, and knowing that it's all about my own race, not anybody else's, but just sticking to my own race in my own lane.
Mm. So, so true. And something caught my eye in your bio, and I'm going to ask you about it because I am a runner. So, what
Yeah.
made you do the Meredith Gift run? What was
Oh,
going through your
okay.
mind in that moment? And perhaps for our listeners, you can explain what that is because I had to Google.
I know it's not something that you commonly understand. So, the Meredith Gift is actually a running race that happens on the last day of the Meredith Music Festival, which is
Okay.
a music festival that happens in regional Victoria in Australia. And it was a running race. I'm sure they still do it these days, but basically it was created like I think about a couple of years in. Um, of this music festival where
Yeah.
there was like a big gap between sets for some reason. And so someone said was like, right, we're going to do it. We're going to do a sprint of how many laps or whatever of the amphitheater, but you have to do it naked.
Yeah.
It's a nude running race. And then since then, it had become like a tradition.
Yes,
So
I saw on the
in my
website.
glory of my early 30s, I think it was my late 20s, early 30s, I was like, I'm going to do this,
Wow.
man. I'm just going to put myself out there. I'm going to do something
Brave.
completely out of the norm. This is a wild ride. I've been to the Meredith Music Festival a couple of years before, and the only way you can go is through a ballot. So I
Sure.
had promised myself if I got into the next festival, through the ballot, I was going to do this. This was my challenge.
Yeah,
Well, the
nice.
universe provided that opportunity, didn't it? But
Oh,
anyway, yes, so that was just something really fun that I just
wow.
had to challenge myself on, just do something a little bit crazy, a little bit wild, and yeah, it was fun. Yeah, it was it's one of those moments where you know everybody's in their most vulnerable state when you don't have
Of
any
course.
clothes
Oh
on.
my
But
goodness.
at the same time, it got my inner cheerleader on, and I just found myself like pepping up all the girls, going, "Come on, ladies, we're gonna do this. We're gonna run. We're gonna look freaking amazing doing this." And everybody's like, "Yeah, this is a great idea." And we're all
Oh,
cheering each
good.
other on. So,
Oh
yeah.
my word. And did you feel
Yeah.
liberated afterwards? So what did you feel like afterwards? Like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that? Or were you like, oh yeah,
100%.
go
Yeah,
girl.
100%. Like, tick that off my book of life events. Like, can't go any, maybe you can go a bit more wilder than that. I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But that for me was just one of those moments where, you know what, I'm just going to do it because that's just
Good.
one of those crazy things that you just need to do in life and have fun doing it. And you're doing it, you're having fun with everybody else. So that was my Meredith gift moment.
Good on you. Well, I might suggest to Parker and I'll see if there's any takers. And I'd love to move to a quick rapid fire round. What I'm going to do
Sure.
is mention a word. If you could let me know what that means for you. So the
Okay.
first one is
Amazing.
sound. The one sound you can't live without.
My daughter's laughing.
Hmm. Reset. What's your go-to reset ritual in 5 minutes or less?
Ooh, I love that one. Playing my crystal singing bowls. Easy.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And when are you coming to Perth, by the way, for that? I've been hanging out
I
for like a year and a
know.
bit now.
I
Chop,
know.
chop.
I know. It's definitely putting it on my goals and intentions list, but
Cool. Keep me
it will happen
posted.
one day. Yeah,
Sounds
absolutely,
good. I'll
Tracy.
gather all the ladies aside. Surprise. What's the most unexpected song on your playlist?
Most unexpected song.
On your playlist,
Oh
yeah.
gosh. Um, Simply the Best by Tina Turner.
Oh, I love that one. Cool. Power. What instantly makes you feel powerful?
Ooh, going for a really good walk, climbing a
Yeah.
sand dune, just getting to the top and just being like, yeah, I did it. Yeah,
Nice, nice.
yeah.
Impact. One word you want people to feel after they experience your work.
Transformation. That sense of, excuse me, transformation. The sense that they've shed and let go of something and that they've received something so fulfilling and in alignment to what they're needing right now.
Yeah, beautiful. And Anna, so just for our listeners to recap, if they do want to start this inner work and experience quantum leaping, grabbing a journal, getting a vision board would be the way to go and just sort of taking those initial steps.
Yeah, absolutely. So get really clear on what it is that you're desiring. What is it that you're calling in? What are your intentions and goals, whether it's business as well as in personal life as well? Like look at all
Cool.
those aspects of, from family, community, health, well-being, money, all those aspects of yourself. And then get really clear. Who is that person? What do they do? What do they look like? What are you doing every day? What's like your, morning rituals? What kind of things are you consuming? What is it that you're letting go of and not doing anymore or willing to shed or that's no longer a negotiable, that kind of thing. And then look at those affirmations. Like, is there anything within that that feels 100% hell yes, I've got this, baby, it's all going to happen? Or is there anything in there that's feeling like there's doubt, fear, unworthiness, it's not possible for me? And that's what you want to rewire. That's what you want to sort of review. And yes, journaling can be a perfect way. Start debriefing, start figuring out why that's not possible for you. Where are those old beliefs coming from? What stories, what things have you've been told, or what programming do you have in there that's saying that that's not possible? And then from there, yeah, create a vision board so you've got that constant visual reminder.
Hmm.
Go to a sound bath, lie on the
Yes,
ground, and
do
just
it.
be in that daydream of you living that moment and the moments afterwards.
Hmm.
It's occurred. What's that like for you as well? And then from there, just start taking all the inspired action, all those little prompts, all those nudges, all those intuitive aha moments of like, oh, I'm going to do this, or that feels like it's right to do. Taking action on all of that as well, because that's the other breadcrumbs that the universe and your higher self is like leading you towards bringing that quantum leap in.
So true. And you'll definitely feel it as well. I don't know about you, since I've started doing this inner work, you'll just get such a sense of someone, will come to mind, or there'll be, something you feel you should follow through on. And I used to ignore it and now I don't. And it's always has the nicest impact. Or, someone says, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe you messaged me because I was going through X, Y, and Z." Do you find it's the same for you?
Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
Yeah, often like it's just like, oh, like that person comes to mind, you call them, you
Yeah.
text them, you send them a message, and they're like, I was just thinking about you. Or
Crazy, right?
I've got a really great friend. I just have to think of her and she actually calls me. I'll be
Oh
like,
my
I've been
goodness.
thinking of you. Thanks for calling me.
Wow. So like connected too.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then where's the best place for our listeners to go should they wish to connect with you?
Absolutely. So you can find me at annahastie.com, where you can find out where I'm offering sound baths, trainings, and mindset coaching. I also have my own podcast, which Tracy has featured in,
Yes, check it out. It's great.
Alchemy Mindset with Anna Hastie. So by all means, please go ahead and you can listen to all the episodes. And of course, send me an email, hello@annahastie.com. Let's say hello.
Anna, thank you so much. The word you use, transformational, every time I speak with you, it always has such an impact on me. And I mean, I know you say it's woo-woo, but I love it. I think it's great. And I think it's so important that more of us are having these conversations, because it's high time, that there's other ways to achieve goals other than what we logically know to be possible. So thank you so much for all that you've shared today.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
Awesome. See you soon.